Hello, this is going to be a overview of how to submit an article as a contributor to the Easton Courier. There are two different ways to log into the site to create an article. I'm going to show you one way to log in at the beginning, and then at the end, after I go through everything, I'll show you the other way of logging in. So my main way of logging in is first I navigate to the eastoncourier.news site, and in the address bar, I'm going to put a /wp-admin and then press return. And that will bring me to a login page. At this point, I will log in with my email address or username that I signed up with and then enter my password. And this is going to bring me to the dashboard of the admin site for the Easton Courier. And as a contributor, you're only going to see a couple things on the left side here, and these are different settings and features that you can look at. In the middle here are the default dashboard areas where you just can see how many posts have been there and how many pages we have and things like that. Before submitting your first article, I suggest doing is coming down here to the left where it says profile and clicking on this. Because before you create your first article, you want to make sure that your information is correct. By default, you can see my display name is just my username there, and I have no other options to change that. In order for your display name, which is going to be the name that displays alongside your article, to be your actual name, you have to come here where your first and last name is and enter those in. And now, when I click on that display name area, I have different options, and I can choose my first and last name as my display name. And once I've done that, I want to come down to the very bottom and make sure I update profile. You also have the option to update your picture as well, which I highly suggest putting a headshot of yourself in there at some point. If you don't have one right away, that's okay. So go ahead and hit update profile, and that'll just take a moment to update. And then once the page refreshes, we know that we're done. Now, in order to create a post, I'm going to come over here to the left side here and click on posts. Now, the first thing you might see is that this looks very messy. That's because it's trying to show you a lot of information and it's not very well organized. One of the things I want to show you real quick is just how to shut off some things that you don't need to look at. So this is looks a little nicer because this is a list of all the articles that have been posted or ready to post or in draft mode on the site already. Come to your top right here where it says screen options and click on that little drop down arrow. And you can see there's a lot of categories for columns that are already checked off. So I'm going to go through and uncheck some things like comments, SEO score, readability, SEO title, things that aren't necessarily important. I'm going to get rid of it. And you can see already down below here, it's a lot easier to read what's going on. Now I can see I have titles, who wrote it, the category that's in, the tags that have been associated with that article, the date that's scheduled to post or has been posted, and also the author for that article. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that up arrow now for screen options and get rid of that area. And now I can see a much cleaner area for my posts that I'm looking at. Now to add an article, we either can come to our posts and click new here or hit add new up here. You can also see when I go back to dashboard, if I just hover over posts, the little pop out comes out and I can click the add new button from there. Either way you get there, no matter what, you're always going to come to this next page. So here is our place where we can create our articles. Now, just really quick, one thing to understand is that the way that the WordPress editor constructs an article is a thing called blocks. Every section of the article is considered to be a different block. So each paragraph is a block, an image you insert is part of a block, a gallery, anything that you upload is in its own block. By default, it starts with the title area and the first block for a paragraph or an image that you can insert in there, whatever it happens to be. So I'm just going to write some random stuff in here. So this is where it says add title, this is where you put the title for article. And then down here I'm going to click in the first area and just start writing the article. Of course I have a typo already, but that's alright, we can go back and fix that. Now, if you had already written your article in Word or another document editor beforehand, you can always copy and paste the article in here as well. Don't worry about the formatting of the text because all articles are going to adhere to the same font and size, so that way the newspaper has a consistent look throughout all the articles. So I can write all the paragraphs I want. If I hit return, it's going to automatically create a new paragraph, or block as it's going to be referred to within the WordPress editor. Now at this point, you can see that if I click on or hover over any of the typed words that I put in here, a little toolbar does appear on the top. So I can change the alignment, so left align, center align, right align. There are things I can change, some features about the fonts, but typically we want to keep it as the default so that, again, everything looks consistent across the brand. One thing you can do is you can either bold or italicize parts of it. In here we can create a hyperlink. So one really nice feature about website design is that we can link out to other things. So if we're writing an article about a business or a farm or something else that has a website or a web presence, we can highlight it here and then click on this little chain link icon and insert the web link for that website here. And then also you have features like, I always recommend telling it to open into a new tab. That way when someone clicks on that link, the Easton Courier stays in one tab and then the new website is in the new tab. So that way they're not leaving our website, they're staying on our website while visiting the other place as well. And there's some other features in here for alignment, things like that. This is a little bit more advanced stuff. I wouldn't worry about too much of this if you don't want to get into it. These are the basic things right here. Now once you've written everything and you want to upload, say, an image to your article, you want to add a block. When I bring my mouse in between the two blocks, you'll see this little black box with a plus button in it. That's add a block. So I can click on that and it'll have this little pop-up come on to add a block. And these are some common things. So I can add a paragraph. This doesn't apply to us, obviously, business hours, forms, contact forms. Some of these might not apply to what you're looking for. If you're looking for something else, you can either search for it if you know the name of it, or you can click the Browse All button down here. And this is going to open up a whole side panel. And say I want to just insert an image. I'm going to scroll down until I get to the media area here. And we can see I have image compare, slideshow, a tile gallery. And as you hover over them, a little preview of what that would look like will show up as well. For this, I'm just going to put a still image. So I'm going to click on image. And now I have this little block area where I can put an image. And I have a couple different choices. I can upload, select image, or insert from a URL. So if the image lives somewhere else on the internet right now, I can just copy and paste the link from that image by using this. If it's already been uploaded to our media library, I can click select image and choose media library and navigate through the library. I click on the media library tab to find that image. If it hasn't been uploaded already, I can just click on the upload button here and then navigate to a location on my computer where I know that image is. So I'm just going to pick a random image here. I always like to use my son as an example, so I'm going to pick a picture from his preschool graduation 2 years ago and open that up. And here we go. And now you can see it's a little big for the article. I might want to make this smaller. So once it's done uploading, I can, if I want to make it smaller on the page, there's a blue dot on the bottom and on the right side here. If I grab either one of those and start sliding in, you can see it'll make it smaller or larger. So that is one way of adjusting the size of it, which is a very easy thing to do. And right below it, there's a place to write a caption. So I can say this is son's preschool graduation. So you put that right there. I can, again, add a link to it or anything. I can add a link right to the image itself if I wanted to. And it's now within the article. Now, once you have things laid out here, if they're not where you want them to be, you can always move blocks around. So when I click on it, this first part of the block control surface, these up and down arrows refer to moving blocks up and down. So I can move things around in the article just by clicking up and down on these arrows. And that will move paragraphs, images, PDF files, whatever it happens to be that you inserted into the article. You can use that to manipulate it. These are alignment tools for images. Again, you can add a hyperlink to the file. If you want to edit the image a little bit, if you click on the crop icon here, it lets you crop it. There's also a rotation tool that you can use. So if it came in sideways, you can always rotate the image and then just hit the apply button when done. And those are the basic settings for what you can do with your image. And you'll notice also when I click on it, on the right side here, there's more styles. If I want to have rounded edges, a bottom wave, or a top wave, I can do that with the styles over here as well. So there's more things I can do. And there's also alternative text I can enter into it. That gives me information about the size it is. If you want something that can be made full screen later on, I would toggle the lightbox image, and that will allow, I'll show you if I hit the preview button here. I'm going to preview real quick. What the lightbox does is, and so this is also very good for slideshows, is that when someone clicks on an image, it'll bring that image in the middle. And if you have a slideshow, now I can go through all the images via the slideshow by using the lightbox. So if you're using a slideshow, always turn on this lightbox area here. Some other things that you might want to insert into an article using a block might be a PDF file. So if you have a long PDF file that needs to go in because it's a press release or has information about an event or something, the PDF embedder would be the block you want to use for doing that. You just click on that, again, just the same way, and then click on here to choose the PDF file, or hit the upload files and select files to upload, and you can upload a PDF file into your article. And if you want to get rid of any block, say I don't really want this image here anymore, I can always click on it, hit the three dots on the menu here, and then remove the block as well. So I can always get rid of it very easily. Like I'm not using this PDF, I can click on that and get rid of it. Once I'm mostly done with it, there's a couple things to finish this article before it's ready for publication. So on the right side here, as long as I'm clicking on this black settings tab here, you can make it go away if you click on it so you have more room. But once you're done, you really want to come in here and you're going to scroll down. One of the first things we're going to look at is categories. So right here, categories, if I expand this open, these are all the different categories or pages that are on the Easton Courier. So when you're looking through all the drop-down menus, that's how this appears in different parts of the Courier. So this is, if this is an article, say, about nature and farms, I want to make sure I check off the nature and farms tab here, and even its parent category, our town, as well, and make sure I uncheck the uncategories area. This way now it knows where to be featured within the Easton Courier, and so when the editors look at it, they know where it's supposed to be going as well. And then after I look at categories, I want to go to tags, and this is really great for helping to find articles, especially for web browsers. So tags are really just different categories that you might fill in. So if there's a person in there, you put the person's name as a tag. It's about preschool graduation, I would type in preschool graduation, things like that. And I'm just, I would do preschool graduation and then put a comma, and it makes a tag, and then type in another name. So I can just put person's name, comma, and it'll make a tag. And then under featured image, this is very important. Everything should have a featured image within the Easton Courier. This is when you're looking at the Easton Courier, that's what this image at the top of every article is. So these images right here at the top of every article, these are featured images. So we want to make sure every article, even if the article itself doesn't have images within it. So if the article is just about a person, you just want to have a picture of that person, or it's about one subject, you only have one picture for that subject, go ahead and make sure you upload a featured image. And when you click on the featured image box, set featured image here, it's going to come with the area where you can upload your files. You can always go to the media library as well to select one that's already up there. And you're going to see here, it tells you maximum size is 2 gigabytes, so it has to make sure it's less than 2 gigabytes before you can upload it, which is a really large picture size. And it also shows you the dimensions that it should be, 1200 by 675. So this tells you the picture should be wider than it is tall, and that way it doesn't automatically get cropped in a weird position. Because this will when you set up the featured image, it does crop the image. So if it's a tall image, it will crop it, so that might cut a person's head off, and that's not what we want visually on the website. So make sure that your dimensions are either this or close to this, and at least make sure it's basically a widescreen format before you upload a featured image. So upload, you can either drag the file and drop it here, or you can select it and navigate to the file on your computer to select that featured image. Like I'll select this one right here. And now when I upload it, especially in this way, you can see on the right here that there's an area for title and caption and description in this media area. One thing I want to note, before you upload things, rename your images to start with. It'll save a lot of time later on. We want to make sure that every image isn't just a random number based on what the camera told it. We want to know this is preschool graduation. So I'm just going to type in preschool real quick, and I want that to be the title. You know, maybe it's preschool 1, 2, 3. Maybe it's preschool 2020. Whatever it happens to be, the title should be descriptive of what you see in the image. So, you know, if it's councilman, it should be councilman with that person's name after it. The caption can be in here, so that will show up what's underneath it, and the description of it should also be in here as well. And what that's great for is later on, when we want to use that image again, we can use the search feature within the media library to find that. So if I want to find something on farms, I can just type in farms, and every single image that has the word farms in it or has been tagged farms is going to show up. Here's all the farm images because I typed in farm. So we're going to use this image right there as my featured image for now. I'm going to set featured image, and there it is. So once you have everything done, before you even submit it for publication, go ahead and you can preview to make sure it looks the way you want it to look. And the way you do that, as I showed you before, come up to the top here, and you have a save draft, so you can always save your draft as you're going. It does automatically save periodically. But right here is your preview. So if you click on that and click preview in new tab, it takes a moment to generate, but then it's going to show me what it will look like on the website. So there's my featured image, and there's my wonderful text that I wrote below it. And as you can see, published on has today's date and my name. So all that looks great. Now there's a couple other things up on the top here. The one thing that might be interesting is this Yoast Seo. So again, you don't have to worry about this too much if you're just creating articles, but I do want to point out what it is. SEO is search engine optimization, and what this does is actually show you a readability score and an SEO analysis score of your article to see how good it is at, you know, first of all, how readable is it for the readers coming to your site, and how well is it going to do with search engine credentials. So how easy is it for Google or Bing or Yahoo to find the article based on how you've done it, and gives you hints on how to change those things. Again, not something you have to really worry about. I would just stick with this lane in your settings area where you're checking off your categories, your tags, and your feature images. And once you are done with everything and you're ready and say, this article is done, I want to submit it for publication, hit this publish button. Don't worry, it's not actually going to publish it right away. When you hit publish, because you're a contributor, you don't have the right to actually just go direct to the website. What's going to happen is it's going to be submitted for review. And when you click on that, it's going to go into that pending category so that the editors can come and look at it and read it. And if you want to come back later, you can always save draft and exit out, and you can always come back. So I'm just going to go backwards here. If I always want to come back to my drafts, come back to post, and right here under drafts, here's all the drafts, and here's my draft right there, title for article. I have 2 drafts actually. So I can just go right back into editing it by clicking on the article or clicking the edit button, and it'll bring me back to that draft. So I can continue editing it. And if I want to, I can always come back here and just trash it because, you know, I'm not really going to publish that article anyways. As you can see, as I'm looking at this, these drafts are by other people, but you have no rights. As a contributor, you can't look at each other's articles. So don't worry about someone accidentally deleting yours or you accidentally deleting somebody else's. It can't happen within the system. It's not going to let you click on those articles to do anything to them. It's just going to show you them, but you have no rights to actually do anything to them. And lastly, I just want to show you real quick how to get into the website another way to do the same thing. Once you get into the article process, it's exactly the same, but logging in can be a little different. So the other way that I can log into the website to make an article for Easton Courier is I can just go to WordPress.com and then come over here to where it says login on the top right. And it's going to bring me to the same looking login page where I'm going to log in again with my username and password. Don't save. But it's going to bring me to a different page once I log in. And you're going to notice there's nothing here to do with Easton Courier. There's a couple steps to get to where I need to be now. On the top left, I have to click on My Site. And now I can see information about the Easton Courier. In fact, it's even going to load the stats for me right in the middle. Now, if you happen to belong to more than one WordPress website, you'd actually have to make sure you choose the right one. But if this is the only website within WordPress that you're using, right in the top, you're going to see Easton Courier. And then right here where it says Site, there's a little drop-down arrow. Click on that, and now we have posts, media, and comments, which we don't have comments on the website anyway, so don't worry about that. If I click on Posts, it's going to bring me to another page that's kind of similar but looks a little different. This is a different kind of view. Here's all the posts that are on there, and again, here's the drafts. You have no drafts, so in this model, it only lets you see what you have. And again, if I want to add new, there's an Add New button here, there's an Add New button here. So wherever I am on this site, I click the Add New. You can hit the right button on the top right to create a new post. And it's going to bring me back to that same WordPress editor that we were in before. So there's multiple ways to getting into this area to do the same thing. Once you get here, again, it's all back to the same thing. And if you do choose to log in this way instead of the other way into the website to change any information about your profile, you'd come up to the top right here where the little picture box is for a person's face. Click on that, and here is where you would put your first and last name and also change your public display name, and then make sure you save it. Now, if you have any problems with any of these things, please let us know. I can always go into the back end on the admin side and adjust display names and things like that if we have to, but this should be enough information to get you started and creating articles as a contributor on the Easton Courier paper.